Hello Pixies, and welcome to or back to my channel. It's Zoe here, and today I have for you magical retelling little reading vlog. I'm also think I'm going to be taking you on some stuff with my apartment. If you don't know, I moved within the last few months, but moving's been kind of rough on me. A lot of things have gone wrong, so I've kind of put off unpacking a lot of my things and doing stuff. I'm gonna also take you through just me trying to make this apartment a bit more me, cleaner, stuff unpacked, and also making it pretty. So we're going to be doing that. I also want to talk about the books. I think I'll be reading 2 or 3 books in this vlog. I'm not quite sure yet, but I know for a fact the first book that I'm going to bring in is Heartless by H.G. Perry. If you don't know, H.G. Perry wrote The Magician's Daughter, which is one of my favorite books ever, and I've talked about it so many times on this channel already, even though I only have a few videos. This one is a bit peculiar. This is actually a novella, so it's very short. I think I can read it fairly quickly, and this is a retelling of Peter Pan and Captain Hook, and from what I've read from the inside is that James and Peter are 2 boys in an orphanage, I think it doesn't say the year, but this is historical fantasy fiction, which I think H.G. Perry really enjoys based off what I know of their books and the one book that I read. They live in this orphanage and they're friends, and they like to play pretend together where Peter can fly and is this magical boy, and James is a pirate, but then one day Peter goes missing. And it says in here, only James saw Peter fly from the workhouse roof in pursuit of a star, and nobody but James believes the star was a fairy. This just sounds so magical and so good, and I love The Magician's Daughter, so it might be influencing my feelings a little bit, but I'm really intrigued by this one. The cover isn't my favorite. I think we could have done a bit more. I really don't like this shade of blue. I think it looks kind of like the old computer screens. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. We're gonna read that one. I believe we're also gonna read Snow and Rose, and if I read another book, I'm not quite sure what it'll be. That's kind of the reading thought process. And another thing that I want to do, and that I'll either do either today or within the next few days, is this wall back here behind me that I keep filming in front of because the rest of the house just isn't ready for me to film in front of, needs some fixing. I hate how it looks in the videos. These walls are kind of yellow toned, but for some reason on this camera it makes it even look even more yellow. I don't know if it's because there's not a lot of light back there. It needs some kind of light source. I have some art prints that can go on this wall, either from magazines, old calendars, and I have a few actual art prints. That's what they're made for, is to go on the wall. I don't have any frames, but I might just put them up temporarily without frames and then work on getting frames later. And I think I might have some fairy lights, and I know I have some little shelves somewhere for maybe some more knick-knacky things, and I also have a calendar that I would like to put up because I haven't seen my calendar in like 2 months, and I would like to. But don't worry if you're like, oh, you wasted your calendar. I buy my calendars with the express purpose of after I'm done with the year that the prints can be cut out and then used just for wall art. So I always make sure to have a really pretty calendar because of that, because it's a cheap way to get wall art, to be completely honest with you. I have a flower fairy calendar this year, if you didn't watch my old videos from the old apartment where it was behind me. So I want to fix that up. During this time, I'm also going to be working on my office/library area, but that's going to be its own separate video. You might see glimpses of the area, but just know I'm not really going to talk about it in depth at all, because that's going to be its own video, which probably isn't going to be up by the time this one is, because I think this one's going to be earlier in the month, and that one's going to be a bit later in the month. And I think that's kind of enough talking. Gonna do some apartment stuff, gonna read some retellings. We're just gonna have a good time, but also be productive. When I either have an update on this book or when I start doing apartment stuff and want to bring you along, that'll be the next thing you see, and I'll chat with you later. Why, hello again. I am about halfway through Heartless, and there's cat hair stuck on my book, but I'm about halfway through Heartless, and honestly, I am enjoying it so far. It's told very classically, like it's written very classically. It's very much Peter Pan-esque, because I have read Peter Pan stories before. I have read, when I was younger, there's many books about Neverland, like the Pixie Hollow books, and I have watched the Peter Pan movie, and I also wrote a whole piece about like the origins of Peter Pan and the person who wrote it and everything, and I've got to say, this is all reflecting inside of this. This is very fast-paced. We kind of move very quickly. Like, now James Hook is now in Neverland as an adult, as what it says, but it does some things that are quite different from like the original stories. So I am enjoying it, and I'm intrigued to see what the other half of this book has in store, because right now it's been kind of like set up and everything that has happened. I also want to say that the author really did her research for this, because it does have like allusions to like the first story Peter Pan appeared in, which was it was some gardens. I don't know how to pronounce, like the Kings and Gardens. Like that's the first, like there's this short story, or it was in a book that Peter Pan appeared in. So we're kind of getting to where things diverge and where things are different now that James Hook has finally reached Neverland after not being able to go with Peter originally. So I'm excited to see where the story of James Hook goes, and the more about this Neverland is different from the Neverlands that I know, and I'm enjoying it. And honestly, I feel like I'm kind of having like a Peter Pan like renaissance kind of, but that's not the only update I have. That's the update on the book. But also, as you can see a little bit back here, I have started changing up the space. That's all I've really done so far. Let's just go over there and I'll show you a bit more of a close-up. Okay, so I'm sorry about the lighting. Over here it is a bit more in the evening time, but I put up my Flower Fairies calendar. I have some Disney art prints. I have a Bambi over here. I have Tangled, one of my favorite scenes from a movie. Like, it's just so beautiful. And I also have Fantasia up there. I have this beautiful art print that my partner actually got me a little bit ago. It's a cow being abducted. We've got some cats, some Studio Ghibli postcards. These art prints over here, those are by Melissa Moss. Got some stuff cut out of magazines. And yeah, that's kind of like the vibe. This wall actually isn't done yet. Like, I also have this postcard from the game Hoya. It came with the game, and I think it's really cute. And fits the vibe. I'm not done with it yet. I want to put up some fairy lights. Like, I'm hoping to put up some fairy lights up here, and so they kind of drape down the sides to give an extra source of light. And I'm also thinking of buying a light to go on the floor over here for when I'm filming, so this wall won't be so dark, and I'm hoping that that solves my problems there. So like, that's how the wall's coming together. I haven't worked that much on the rest of the house yet, of the apartment. When I get to that part, I will definitely show you, but I'm thinking I'm gonna be buying a couch very soon. So yeah. It's time for a little update, because I have finished Heartless by H.G. Perry, and I don't want to give away too much of the story in case you want to read it, but I do want to say that I think this is an excellent like backstory to Peter Pan and like the formation of Neverland and all those things. I thought the ending, specifically the last page, or like the last couple paragraphs really, that rushed it too much. Didn't really appreciate that. But like the origin story of Peter Pan and Captain Hook, I thought it was done spectacularly well. But it's just Like, the author clearly did a lot of research about the origins of Peter Pan and all of these things, and also, like, looked at it like it was such a tragedy. It makes us think it's such a tragedy to never grow up, and how the creation of Neverland, what that was all about. And honestly, being in this place where everything is the same forever isn't actually all that good. And it's filled with so much magic, but that magic is kind of heartbreaking, which is the complete opposite of the magic in her other book that I've read, The Magician's Daughter. Like, this book is really, like, sad and really pulls at your heartstrings and makes you really think about Peter Pan and the Never Fairies and Neverland and Captain Hook in a way you never would expect to. I thought the relationships between characters was done really well and were also so heartbreaking. Honestly, I think this is going to be a book I think about. I thought it was also the perfect length, and while I didn't really like the very end, I did really like it overall. I rated it a 7 out of 10 because it's not going to be an absolute favorite, but I think it's going to be one I think about. So that's that on Heartless. I've still got to find the other books I want to read during this vlog. I know I want to read Snow and Rose. I don't know if I'm going to read another book or not. I just don't know at this point in time. I also don't really have any updates for you on decorating. I know what lights I want to go up back there, but I need batteries for them. So that sucks, to be honest. So that's kind of what I've got for right now. Sorry it's a bit of a tiny update with me finishing Heartless, but maybe I'll get back to you once I find Snow and Rose and start that. So I'll catch you later. And welcome to my Christmas tree. And we're gonna ignore whatever's back there. But I have officially started Snow and Rose because I have finally found it. And I'm not very far into it. I say that, but it's a very short book. I'm on page like 102 out of like 208, I believe. But it's even shorter than that because there's lots of pages with illustrations, and also the font is rather large because this is middle grade. Not like a lot has happened yet, if that makes sense. I'm having a good time reading this so far. I think it's really cute and just really like cozy and like whimsical. I love all the added stuff. I think the author and illustrator is really creative. I'm just loving the illustrations within this. I think they're really good, and I think they're being done very well. And I'm excited to see what direction this story is going to go. I have a few ideas which are probably going to be right because this is a middle grade book, and I would even say this is like a young middle grade book, but that's not a bad thing by any means. Those need to exist, and this one's pretty good. I'm having a good time. And my other update for the vlogs is more so I know I mentioned decorating the apartment and all that stuff, but it's just kind of turned into more than that. Like, I have my Christmas tree here. Part of what you see isn't decorated because that's the back half, so it could be by the window here. I'm really happy with it. I love the pastel pink color. Found most of the ornaments at Walmart and the other ones at Goodwill, so all like the spherical ones and the green ones are from Walmart, and the rest that you see on here are from Goodwill, including my tree topper, which I'm absolutely in love with. I am definitely celebrating Pinkmas this year. I really love the tree. We're just having a good time. Gonna continue on like this fairy tale like trend. And I'll catch you when I finish Snow and Rose. Hello, it's time for a little update for this rain vlog, and we're in a different space. We're in my living room because it's really coming together. I just have an air mattress with a bunch of blankets stacked up behind me because I don't have a couch yet, but the apartment is really starting to come together. My library area that you can see a little peek of back there is really coming together. I will be having a video up with my office / library area, and I have some book updates and also some other stuff. So I also should have had at least one, well, literally one clip, because I went to Disney Springs with my family and I was planning on getting more clips while I was there, but I had a really hard time filming there. Like, it's very overwhelming and it's in public, but I thought, like, if there's a place to like film in public, then a theme parky area is the place to do it because no one's gonna look at you weird. But I just got one of the Christmas trees, but I did get some stuff there, just a couple little things, nothing like extravagant or anything, because there's this art store there, and it's really cool to look inside. I loved looking inside. They have some really expensive stuff, but it's cool to just look at because it's art. But they do sell some of those artworks as postcards, and I'm going to be using them as art prints, and I'm hoping to put them up in my little office / library area once I get settled in for filming, that they'll be in the background maybe sometimes. But the first one I got is my favorite one because, oh, I should take them out of the plastic. Please hold. So the first one I got is my favorite one because it is Tinkerbell. I loved seeing the real artwork of this in there because it's all like 3D paper. It's not painted at all, and I think it's beautiful. And if you haven't discovered already, I kind of love the Disney fairies and such, so I'm really excited about this Tinkerbell print. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Next up, it's by the same artist as another one of those 3D paper ones, and this one's Cinderella. I love Cinderella. I think she's misunderstood, and I feel like it's kind of uncommon. Well, I don't know about uncommon, but I think there should be more retellings with Cinderella. But like, look how beautiful she is. I love this print too. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And the very last one I got is Giselle from Enchanted, and this one's a different art style, but I absolutely love it. I love Enchanted. It's always been one that I really love. So yeah, those were my little Disney Springs goodies. I think they're all really cute, and I think they're all gonna look really cute on the wall in the other room, so I'm really excited about those. And like, they're not terribly expensive, like art print wise. I think they're about $7 a piece, which you could argue that's a lot for a postcard, but it's not a lot for an art print. So I'm quite happy with that. And I do have quite a few postcards just as art prints as is, because I bought this box set of like Studio Ghibli ones. Honestly, I think more media should make postcards because it's a cheaper way to get art prints, like from mass artists, just that. But now that we've chatted about those things, I have updates with you about my books. Because first off, I have officially finished Snow and Rose, and this was really cute. I had a good time reading it. I thought it was really fun. I loved the illustrations. I loved the take on the fairy tale. As I said in the last clip, this is a young middle grade through and through, because I feel like there's different ranges in middle grades, but I feel like this is like middle grade for like after like a child is done reading chapter books, that this would be the next step into middle grade, and then kind of a bit older but not as young, like when you're starting ready to move out of this form, you could go on to like Hedwig, and then when you're a little bit older, move on to like Fablehaven, and then when you're almost ready for YA but not quite there yet, then go to Percy Jackson. I would put this on the very youngest edge of middle grade because it's written very fairy tale-esque, and there's pictures, and like, even though like it looks not like a small book, but like a decent sized book, the font is really big and there's not a lot of it per page. Like, I read this I think in like 2 hours, really, maybe an hour and a half, just straight reading, even though I read it over the course of a few days because I was reading little bits at a time because my family was here. But I really liked the take on Snow White and Rose Red. I thought it was really cute. I thought it was really sweet. I had a good time reading this one. It was just something easy, because I haven't been reading as much as of late. But I really do like that one. And if you just want something that's just cute, and my cat is causing mayhem back there, if you just want something that's cute, I would recommend it. And then I started Kingdom of Ash and Briars, which was also on my end of the year TBR. And this one is about a young woman who becomes an Elemancer, and the Elemancers have basically all died out, and once you claim your Elemancer's stone, you can become immortal. They each possess different powers. You possess magic in general, but regular people can possess magic as well, even though it tends to be smaller magic. But they can learn magic as well, but they each have their own special gift, and our main character's special gift is shape-shifting, which I think is really cool. And it's supposed to be like this big battle between like light and dark. I will say, I'm on page... What page am I on? I'm on page 126, and I'm not disliking it. I want that to be clear. I thought the beginning was really strong. We start straight off with an event. There's not like a lot of build up for what you know is going to happen because it's listed in the description. Like, there's not a lot of build up or anything, but it hasn't slowed down since like the inciting event. Like, I wish we got a bit of a slower story with her learning magic and having 2 mentors. So things that happen close to the beginning of this book, you really feel it more, because I just feel like it's going very fast right now. Like, almost like they just want to get to like the meat of like the facts, like the bullet points of the story. Like, if you broke a story down to bullet points of major events, that's kind of just what it feels like. It's major event after major event. Like, I think this, like, it's in no way written bad. It's just going very, very fast. But maybe if I get a bit more into it, I think it started to slow down a little bit, and you're getting more of a play-by-play other than just giant event after giant event. I'm excited to see where it goes, because as I said, it's not written bad. I would like to get to know the main character a little bit more. And also, there's like a massive time jump that happens, which makes sense because they are immortal. But yeah, that's where I'm at in Kingdom of Ash and Briars. I am enjoying it. I don't know if it's going to be like a new favorite based on how fast it's moving. I think I just prefer more of a medium-paced book, and this is very, very fast. I feel like in books, you need a good balance of slow and fast based on the kind of story. And this kind of more classic YA story, I feel like you need some slower moments to balance out the fast parts. In my opinion, you could feel differently. And that's kind of all I have for this little update. Today, I'm going to continue reading Kingdom of Ash and Briars. I'm going to be doing that. I'm also going to be doing some YouTube editing. Like, I hope to do at least 2 videos today, which is kind of a lot, but I have fallen a little bit behind on uploading and editing all the videos I have for December because my family was here, and I was just having a good time spending time with them, and editing takes quite a while, and I'd rather spend the time with them. So I am going to read some. I'm going to do that. Probably watch some YouTube. I'm going to eat my lunch, which is some leftover noodles from last night. I put some chili garlic sauce on them to give a little bit of kick. So I'm going to eat my lunch. Going to do some other things. When I have an update on Kingdom of Ash and Briars, I will see you again. Hello, it is time for another little update about Kingdom of Ash and Briars, and there might be some background noise because there's some kind of work being done outside maintenance-wise, I believe. So if you can hear that, I'm so sorry, but I really wanted to do this now while there was like kind of a good patch of daylight. I am more of the way through Kingdom of Ash and Briars. I am on page 260, and there are 355 pages of this book, so I have a little bit less than 100 pages left. And this is a very, very fast-paced book, without a shadow of a doubt. There's also a lot of characters, and a lot of plot despite it moving really fast, and because of that we don't really get to know many characters. And spoiler alert, there is a character death, but because there's so many characters, I couldn't really find myself to care all that much. Like, I couldn't really find myself to really care all that much, even though the main character was so wounded by his death, so upset that he died. But I just didn't really feel upset because we didn't really get to know him. Everything moves so fast. There's so many characters. She's doing so many things at once, and she's trying to, like, play this chessboard of, like, politics. But it's not really in a way that makes sense. Like, a way better, like, books that are political, where characters are making a lot of choices that I think are, like, done better is, like, The Cruel Prince and The Winter Duke. Those are both really good, like, political fantasy books, and The Winter Duke is astonishingly, it's like, takes place over a course of days, okay? But there's so much jam-packed into one day that it doesn't feel fast-paced. And we're just gliding over, like, an entire year of plot. I'm just kind of getting that the main character is a little bit of a Mary Sue. Like, she's just perfect. She never does anything wrong. Even when she hurts people, even when she manipulates people, they forgive her. And, like, it's never really a problem because she's just doing what she's right because she's an Elemencer and she knows better than us. But she's, like, at the beginning, she's still a teenager, so then 17, 18 years later, it's not like she's been alive for all that long, really. Like, many of them are probably older than her, really, at this point. So, and it just feels a bit like a Mary Sue. And based on the description of this book, I thought she was going to be more of a morally gray character, or just one who really cares about herself. I thought it was going to be more of a challenge between that, like herself, like doing good, or doing good for the world, or doing good for her. And that doesn't really seem to be the case. Like, she just kind of always seems to do what's right. And even when she does things to people that are bad, it's like never a problem. And it's aggravating me a little bit. What I do like, I like her relationships, her complicated relationships with the other two Elemancers. I think that's interesting. I also love the fairy tale elements brought into this, because it does have fairy tale elements like Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. I'm really enjoying that in this. I think that's really fun. And I'm not having a bad time, but I am a little bored. But I don't think the writing style is bad. I think it's clean for the most part. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but I think it's because there's so many characters that we don't really get to know. So then when something happens to them, you're just kind of like, who was that again? Like, because there's just so many characters. And I just think this wasn't really the kind of book that I was expecting. But despite my critiques of the book, it doesn't mean I think it's bad. I think, like, overall, for my personal taste, it's okay, but for other people, this would be a good book. I wouldn't really say it would be like someone's like groundbreaking, oh, this is my absolute favorite series of all time if they read a lot. But for the audience it's intended for, I think a young adult audience would have a really good time reading this book. I'm intrigued with where the overarching plot is going, so I'm definitely gonna continue. And I believe I'm gonna give the second book a go, because I'm not having a bad time, I'm just not having a great time. And that's okay. Unfortunately, not all books can be new favorites as much as I would like that to be. We'll see if I change my mind about anything by the end of the book. And I think I'm going to try and finish it today, because there's other things I want to read before the end of the year. So I think I'm going to try and finish this today. So I'll catch you when I have an update about this book. Hello. It is later that night. I currently have dinner cooking in the oven. I should have put that clip in before I put it in. And I have some rice starting to cook on the stove. But I did in fact finish Kingdom of Ash and Briars. Also ignore my little storage area back there. It's just full of cardboard boxes for when we move again. But I finished Kingdom of Ash and Briars. And with the ending in this book, I realized that this is like a completed book. There's no cliffhanger or anything because the series continues on with different characters. So it's like, that's why it's the Chronicles of Nysteria, is because we're not really going to be seeing these characters again. This was its own story when I was expecting this story to be the whole series. But with that being said, it feels like the author tried to pack a whole series into one book, which made it very fast-paced without a lot of character development. And I've given a lot of my thoughts, and maybe they're kind of spoilerly, but I don't think so because I haven't really stated any events that really happened other than the first event, which is in the description. I thought it was an okay book. I really liked some of the concepts. I thought the action writing was surprisingly really good. The last pages, my last section, were actually some of my best experience with the book because it was a lot of action. The author is very good at writing action, but because of lack of character development and it's just feeling like so much, I can't really recommend this book. Like, if you really like fast-paced books and you don't want to commit to a whole series and you think this concept sounds cool and you don't care that much about character development, you just want the cool plot things, then maybe this would be for you. But honestly, I couldn't really recommend this book because it's just so fast and it's in detriment to the overall story. And that's kind of my thought of Kingdom of Ash and Briars. And with that is the end of this reading vlog. Sorry you won't see how my dinner turns out. Hopefully it's good. But I've read 3 books in this video. I read Heartless, I read Snow and Rose, and I read Kingdom of Ash and Briars, and I think that's a pretty good place to stop. None of them have like blown me away, but I have had good times with all of them. If you like this video, you can give it a like. If you'd give it a like, I would really appreciate it. Also leave a comment down below if you've read any of these books or want to read any of these books with your thoughts. And if you want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe because I am posting an awful lot this month in December. So if you want to see more videos by me, just go ahead and subscribe so you can see them. I guess I'm signing off now. Okay, bye.